What's good, YouTube? Runick's White here, back to showcase my performance for Decay's Meta Weekly 144. We actually did really well, and I'm actually pretty proud. I have a lot to learn still, but we topped 17th place. We were so close to top 16. My goal is to make top 16 someday, and yes, we went 2-1 and a total of 4 games won and 3 losses. And the person that we lost to, Timeless, shout out to you. You made first place. Congratulations to you. They did really well playing Voiceless Voice. But for us, we actually played White Forest Runick, a deck I've been always climbing with for the past month and a half now. And I'm genuinely liking the deck. I am tweaking it. I'll probably do another updated deck profile once I hit Masters. But if you are interested, links in the description. I will post the Master Duel Meta deck builder for this deck. As of now, this is the deck that I used. And I wanted to go over my replays and go with a play-by-play. It's a bit choppy, unfortunately. Next time I'm going to record all my games, wins and losses. Another theme I would like to dedicate this video towards with Runick White Forest is do not be afraid to send Fountain. You can actually reset Fountain when it is sent to the graveyard and you grab it back with Diabell. I have a lot of showcase to show that you can draw way more than just 3 cards in one turn and recycle Fountain and just continuously cycle through your deck. And so with these type of videos, I want to go play by play by showcasing going first and then going second, how I play around my opponent, how I try to board break or just, outplay my opponent. So hope you guys enjoy. Let's go. So to showcase Duel, we're gonna start off by showing our ranked games first. So we chose to go first, and I believe for this first duel, we are fighting Gimmick Puppets. And our hand is arguably, it's full combo, but it's not ideal just because we could easily get hand trapped, and if we get hand trapped here, it's over. So I said to myself, let's summon Hugin now. Because no matter what, we're gonna go to Resilla or Synchro 6. So I discard Slumber here, and thankfully nothing got hand trapped because we probably would have ended in a really bad state. But we did that during draw phase. We then used Slumber to draw 3 cards, and since I saw this card, I knew it was Gimmick Puppet. So we draw 3. Pretty gas hand now, and because I saw no red during the time, because I 100% would have thought Hugin would have gotten negated here, but since it didn't, I went for a greedy play with a Stellar at 1 still. You could have went LZ, but you get more value. So I send Fountain here. Now for this video, the theme is do not be afraid to send Fountain, because you can definitely recycle it. I know it says once per turn, but if you replay Fountain, you can actually draw again. So we use a Stellar to get Sylvie. Sylvie gets Woes. We go into Resilla here. Resilla sends Woes, and we get Tails here, because we already have Woes. Set that, and at the same time chain with a Stellar's graveyard effect. So we're truly full combo here. Set Woes, Synchro Diabell. Diabell will grab our only spell in the graveyard, Fountain. Play Fountain again. Summon Lucia. Send Tails to draw 1, and we get Slumber. We then set Tails, and Sylvie sends back Priscilla. We go into Visas Ametara to get Reframing, and we, I believe, go greedy. We go into Qingying because we have already Omni Negate, and since I have Slumber, I am hoping to draw one. It's a free non-banish. So on draw phase, we use Maxi. They try to send Gimmick Puppet to the grave, I believe. Yeah. And because of that, I see them send that, and I chain with Qingying, chain to Runick to draw one to chain block, and we threw away some pretty good cards, or banished some good cards. So we banished that, their normal summon, and that, and then they still special summon. At this point, I use Diabell because we're going to Synchro 10, and we send Tails here because we can't even use it anyway. I'm drawing, they send cards, a Stellar's Effect because I sent Tails to chain, and we get to Formula Synchron. And also, pretty good top deck with Maxi. I negate that. We go into Chaos Angel to banish the third copy of Gimmick Puppet Little Soldier. So we're controlling the game, and because of that, they So for Duel 2, we are fighting Dark Worlds. And with this hand, this is a pretty good hand. Having Fountain in hand sometimes is really ideal with Runick cards. One thing to remember with Rusia that is, don't forget to use her draw effect. And you may be thinking to send Woes, but that's actually incorrect for this play. We want to send a Runick card because we want to maximize drawing, because we're pretty full combo here. I use Rusia, send Droplet, and then we draw, called by the grave. So this is really good. So now we could dodge hand traps, essentially. Because of this, we draw 2, and that was really helpful, because now we can still Synchro 6 and send Woes. And sending Woes, we get LZ, set Woes, and because we want to keep our spells and traps, remember, do not be afraid to send Runick Fountain, because you can always recycle it and possibly draw more. So we get Rusia here, special summon Rusia, Synchro Diabell, grab Fountain, play Fountain, special summon Rusia. Now you may be wondering why I summon Rusia twice, or search for Rusia. It's because we want to Synchro. Even though they're both tuners, Visa, Amitara is 1 tuner plus 1 light monster. So you could use 2 tuners. We don't grab Sylvie because you have to search. I already used my normal summon, that's why. So since I normal summon Rusia initially, I haven't used a special summon effect. So we Synchro here to Visa Amitara. Grab Reframing, our Omni Negate. And you may be wondering to yourself, but why didn't I use Freezing Curses? Is because I value to the monster negate here. Although I could have summoned to a Synchro 10 and drew another card, I wanted to play conservative here. That's up to you guys. That could be an incorrect play, but I just didn't want to roulette. And drawing 1 card, I already had a lot of interruptions. So here we have a Synchro 10, 1 Omni Negate, 1 Hand Trap, 1 Book of Eclipse, and 1 Freezing Curses or Monster Negate. That's 5 interruptions. We let that go through, and I saw the danger, so once I saw the Dark World, I knew what I was facing. They tried to use the graveyard effect, so we negate that so they do not summon, I believe. Or add, my mistake. They summon the danger. I reframing that, thinking, you know, let's rip cards from their hand so it's harder for them to play. Little did I know, they still had more. I'm not too familiar how Danger's engine works, but they summon. And as they're summoning, they Gen X Alley Birdman. I send evenly because we know we're not going to use evenly. Formula Synchron into Qingying. Well, you do Qingying because you have Freezing Curses. So you could have went Baron, but since they banished already, Birdman gets banished when it leaves the field since they use that special summon. They try to negate here. So, choke point, I had the Freezing Curses that. So we banish Baron, and I believe Danger Mothman. We draw one, and it swopes. At this point, we don't have much to go off now, we just have the Book of Eclipse, so I accidentally misplayed here, by the way, too, and I sent Maxi when I meant to send Woes, but it is what it is. They summon my LZ and synchro it. As they're summoning, they make this lower attack. So I regret that, and then they tried to destroy my Woes here. I summon a Stellar, and I actually misplay here. I was supposed to bring out, or send Diabell, but we won. So for this replay, we are fighting Melodious, and our hand is really gas, and we could play through a lot. We have a lot of options, and it is priority at this point. What do you want to go first? Do you want to get your Fountain? Do you prioritize getting Fountain, or do you prioritize getting a White Forest? So for this hand, we both have our double starters here. So at this point, I want to bait with Sylvie because we could still get White Forest if it gets negated. So in my mind, I normal summon Sylvie, and their screen does not go red, so it indicates to me that their hand traps, there's no hand traps to worry about, at least during the time of this. So I just add Fountain at this point, and we just go off here. I summon. Interesting thing here too I want to mention is we special summon Elza. Instead of sending Woes, the reason we send Runick Fountain here is because we want to draw more. We wouldn't have been able to draw 3 if we sent Woes instead, because the Woes is just going to get set and then we just draw 2. That's why. So at this point, we actually summon Runick here, and then we draw 3. So this hand now, it's still full gas plus a reset, or a fusion substitute, just to be able to recycle Hugin. Yeah, this is all gas here. So we send fusion substitute because we really don't need it. Synchro into Rusilla. Rusilla, we send Fountain, actually, my mistake. We send Fountain because we want to reset it. We already have 2 Woes anyways. So we fusion substitute. We were hoping to get a Runick card to continuously draw, but at this point, the only target we have is Fountain in the graveyard for Diabell. Summon Fountain. Also use Rusia's graveyard effect to send Rusilla or a Synchro White Forest back. Synchro to Visa Amitara. Amitara gets us reframing, and we set 3 here. So with this hand, or board that we have a Synchro 10, we have a Book of Eclipse, we have a Monster Negate, and then we have reframing. So that is about 4 interruptions that the opponent has to deal with. And seeing how this plays out, they use this to try to special summon, and I was told to not negate this, or from my experience. So we just let it go through, and we send the woes just because we already have them, and we get formula synchron. We set woes, and at the same time we chain 3 imperm, and at that point they quit, knowing that we just have way too much. They wouldn't be able to play. So for Duel going second, we play Melffy Spright here. We play Rescue Cat. I misplayed by not banishing Rescue Cat, but I believe it still works out because since I saw evenly in my hand, I just said let them pop off a little bit. And I'm not again too sure how the Melffy engine works, but I intentionally tried to bait my opponent to use their effects to have more cards on the field, which they do. They send that back, and then they summon. And I missed target with Imperm, so I just battle phase evenly. I banished the 2. I play Runick Fountain. I flash and fire that. I just draw the 1 because I wanted to keep LZ just in case I needed to extend. So I send Runick Fountain here. I have not normal summoned yet, and they Droll and Lockbird us. So this is where you have to play a little bit different. When I Resilla, I cannot search, so I say let's get Gary here because I can grab back Fountain, and I still need a board, so I have to go into Baron. Go into Baron and end phase. At least we have 1 Omni negate. They have 2 cards in hand, and that was a peachy situation, but we managed to win. And battling a deck I really like. This deck is none other than Live Twin Spright, and they get to go first. So as they play, once I saw Live Twin, I already knew what deck I was gonna play against. I max C right away, knowing, and they chain Spright Sarger. Knowing that my guess is they wouldn't go for the max C challenge, and I was correct. I ended up not drawing for that, but it was okay because we still had full combo and our starters in our hand, which was pretty lucky. Now, as an experienced Spright player, I already know they have a spell and trap negate in 1 set card. So how I wanted to play this is try to use Runick last, just because I don't want to get negated by Carrot. We play very uniquely here, so this is why I really wanted to showcase this. They droplet our Sylvie, knowing it's a White Forest deck. And because of that, it's negated. We summon Elzet. At this point, we drew a pretty good Rushia, and this is going to help us extend. We go into Silvera. Now, the reason we go into Silvera is because we want to set Book of Eclipse everything so we can use Smiting Storm and not get negated here. So I set face down. Since we have not used the Runick card, we attack, destroy it. We go to main phase 2. We get Hugin. Now, I don't want to discard here because we value having Rushia here. We go into Diabell instead. Now this play is different because we don't go for Fountain, because I want to keep the max C just in case they do break my board or somehow go crazy summoning. because I know I shouldn't get OTK'd with the current state of the game. And then I summon Sylvie from the graveyard by sending Silvera back from White Forest Synchro. And we still extend here. Now this is why I truly love the Visa Amitara package, because yeah, it's just a free Omni Negate. And with this, we have 3 or 4 interruptions. We have a Max C, we have a Synchro 10, we have a card to rip a card from their hand if they attempt to search, / protection with the Runick Hugin, and reframing to Omni Negate and destroy because Visa Amitara is out. Or, yeah. Because of that, I shotgun Maxi in draw phase. They summon, and now we have a Ash Blossom here. And they just scoop. Really interesting setup there because we didn't do our traditional plays. So I hope you enjoyed this specific going second. So this duel, we are dueling Lab, and I believe they go first, and I already knew it was either going to be a Lab or a stun deck just because they set 4 and passed. So I really wanted to tread carefully here. We have a great potential to go full combo this hand with LZ starting or Runick Tip. This is an important thing that you want to always think about when you're dueling. How do you want to show your opponent what deck you're playing? Because then you could totally throw them off with the second engine, especially with the White Forest Runick being 2 different engines. We start this duel by showing LZ, showing that this is a White Forest deck. We send Woes, and then we just get Chain Maxi'd here. I obviously don't want them to draw now, especially with 4 cards on the field already. So I continue just showing them White Forest cards. I want to use, in my mind, Runick cards last here. So we normal summon Sylvie here. At this point, they Solemn Strike. So this is kind of good in my favor, just because they don't know about Runick yet. So they negate Sylvie, destroy it. And at this point, since we're still under Max C, and then they summon limit, I had to just chain to add Fountain. And adding Fountain allows us to not summon anymore and just rely on my draws here. Granted, I could have played the Runick cards a little bit better at this point. Like, I could have probably flashed Smiting Storm earlier to get an extra banishment, but I just played it the way I played it here. And we end up destroying to Lady Labyrinth and just banishing a few cards. They have Dogmatic, a punishment set, and we draw 3. Praying to get a really good draw, we got Tip, which is a really clutch card, especially with Fountain already on the board. We set 4 again. I get Destruction as they set, and I always, in my mindset, I always, as a psychological warfare, I always go for the card that the opponent sets, because typically in your mind you will set the most prioritized card because it's just prized. But sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does work. But for this case, I just target that, and at this point I think I chose correctly because they just scooped, and that was it. So for this duel going second, we are fighting Labyrinth, and when I see them normal summon that, I just shotgun Maxi as they're trying to special summon, trying to draw as best as I can to evenly them. So we'll skip their play a little bit. They go off a bit. So remember, don't play any runic spells or your battle phase will be skipped. So always do it in the battle phase everything. I had to learn the hard way. So when we did this, I just shotgun evenly. They welcome our big welcome Labyrinth, and I said to myself, let's just max C at this point because I already drew a lot, and this is probably the best timing. They summon Lovely, drew one, and they evenly here. So evenly came in clutch. They tried to destroy my imperm during the battle phase still. As they're trying to do things here, I just called by the grave whatever I could. So I called by the grave the Stovey. And I end up winning this chain actually. Yeah. So I was surprised to win that just because if they negated anything, I wouldn't have anything, but it worked out going second. Evenly comes in clutch, and I recommend really using that. Saving my favorite replay recently with White Forest Runick going second is fighting Snake Eyes. I believe it was a full Snake Eyes deck. Yeah. So they do Snake Eyes things going first. Our hand is, to me, not that ideal, especially when they go crazy here. And even Ash Blossom my Maxi. So they have a free board. They do Snake Eyes things, Ash, Poplar. I think Poplar into Oak. Yep. And they just summon like just have a field day with Snake Eyes. They even triple talents us. So I really thought this game was over. They knew my hand, and we somehow still come through with this. Yep, and just about done. Okay, so they have a lot of interruption here. They have Promethean Princess, they have IP, and they have Little Knight. So quite the oppressive hand or board. Plus, I have barely any engine, and no board breakers. So I thought to myself, it's over, but we still gotta play it through. First things first, we summon Hugin. Hugin discard one of our copies for woes, and if this didn't go through, it's GG here at this point. So, but they special summon IP, and miraculously this went through. So we set the woes because it was discarded. We target amphibious swarm ship, thinking because no matter what I target, Little Knight's going to target it and banish it. Arguably, I should have just targeted IP because I don't think they would get rid of that. But because they did that, I'm hoping these 3 draws were gas, and they were. I have not normal summoned, and this is why you play a Stellar, because the Stellar came in clutch here. They IP here, and since we Flashing Fire to destroy IP, they didn't have to play anymore. That was very lucky, and Promethean Princess is offline. We send Fountain. Remember, do not be afraid to send Fountain, because you can get it back, and because we have a Runick card and Runick cards in the graveyard, we're about to recycle our hand like crazy. So again, we Synchro Summon to Ursula, graveyard effect of a Stellar, summons it, special summon Lucia from the hand, get Diabell, grab Fountain. At this point, it's just we just dismantled their field. We draw 3, so we drew 6 cards going second. How gassy is that? And Sylvie to send back Priscilla. Synchro into Visa Zametara. And we still could go into Synchro 10 because of LZ. Because I was gonna send Fountain for the second time with LZ and just get it back with Gary. And they... So the deck can definitely still play going second. It's just a little bit harder. So we win the coin flip. We go first. And this hand is actually decent. Just because we have Fountain. If we didn't have Fountain, it's almost a dead hand. So with this hand, I just show Runick right away. Just because I'm hoping to draw a starter as of now. But if we do not, we could just summon Rushia and Synchro and then send Fusion Substitute, and then we could still draw one. So Fusion Substitute has been working pretty well for me. So we draw one in hopes that we get Engine, and we do not get it. We get non-Engine. Summon Rushia, send Substitute, and now we have Interruption. Going to Rusilla here. We send Fountain. Again, sending Fountain, we can draw more. Do Fusion Substitute, banish it, send Hugin back, and we have a really good non-engine for the opponent's turn. As you can see their hand, we are fighting Dinomorphia. We summon Sylvie, go into Diabell, to get our Fountain back. So we send back. So we actually misplayed here. That's one thing I wanted to mention because we actually used Rusilla to get Sylvie. We actually should have gotten Rusia. If we have gotten Rusia, this is a big one that I wanted to bring out because this is why we, unfortunately, spoiler alert, we lose this round. If we got Rusia, we could have gotten Visa Ametara here. Since we didn't, I was just trying to draw more. So we draw again, and we draw a really good tip, so it ends up working out, I feel, because then we go to Tri-Edge, draw, and we have a really good going second. They end up using Wannabe. So for this game, we have 4 interruptions. We have Diabell, Maxi, Ash Blossom, and Runick Tip to be anything essentially. So we shotgun Maxi in draw phase here. And because I saw Dinomorphia, I just wanted to get Destructions, get that set card. I tried to pop it, and we draw 2 from that. They set 4, and then they play Trap Trick. I tried to chain with Diabell to try to interrupt them still, because since they have all those set cards, I wanted to try to go off here. They had Imperm. As they set, I just synchro right away to Qingying. The reason we go to Qingying here is because we are trying to destroy their board. They Imperm. I didn't know that they can play the card that they set right away, so it was a misplay on my part. But we still got to banish a lot. So, but unfortunately, with all this, again, it's a misplay. 2 things. I could have gotten Reframing, and if I knew Sword Soul would have gotten negated by Imperm being set on the turn it was set, it was a misplay on my part. I synchro into Baron from those monsters. They play Frenzy. I tried to negate it, but with Ash Blossom, they Solemn Strike. And at this point, they summon. So this is where it gets difficult playing through their board. I try to negate here, and they destroy with Intact, Counter Trap, and then they get their boss monster out. I try to continue playing, hopefully that Sword Soul can work, but unfortunately with Rex Term's effect, for all who don't know, your opponent cannot activate effects that have attack higher or greater than, or sorry, equal to your life points. So, in other words, nothing works. So I tried to just make a board, but they solemn that, and this is where it looks pretty bad for me. I tried to still interrupt the opponent, but since my board has already been destroyed, and they Typhon, send Chinging back, they swing for game, and that is game 1. Now for game 2, we asked to go first. And our hand is not ideal, but it's something we could deal with. And seeing their hand at the time, I didn't know what they had. But I just summoned Hugin, discarded Flashing Fire. We typically discard a Stellar, but the thing is, since we don't have any starters, we wanted to keep a Stellar just in case. So I saw no red lights go on, so I went with Hugin and just went for the 3 draws. And we draw, okay. So we finally used the Stellar's effect to send Fountain, because since we got a Runick card, we could draw more with Fountain if we grab it back. And with Fountain being, with a Stellar being played as a normal summon and essentially going through, your plays could be very explosive. Because when you go Rusilla and uses her effect when she's summoned, a Stellar comes back and you just can easily extend and go into your strongest board, which is typically going to be Diabell here, a Synchro 10, and Reframing. So we grab back Fountain here. We then get Sylvie to come back, and we go into Amitara. Amitara gets us Reframing. We synchro into Baron here, because we want to have as much negates. For this board, it's pretty standard, but we have a lot of interruption. We have Synchro 10 Diabell. We have a Omni Negate. We have Book of Eclipse. We have Baron. That's 4. Plus 2 hand traps. That's 6. Not including the Runick to draw. So that's 6 interruptions. I max C on draw phase right away, because knowing Dinomorphia, they would try to summon. I Ash Blossom, Fossil Dig, and it comes clutch Ash Blossom within this tournament. They use their starter, and I just negate it right away, just because we have Reframing. I wasn't as afraid. As they were trying to end, I summoned Hugin intentionally just to protect and just to draw. So we draw, and I want to try to chop their board. So we actually summon Amitara here, because we just synchro back into Baron to have a negate. I try to destroy their set card. They use Iron Thunder. I try to reframing to negate, and then they solemn my negate, Omni negate. So, not looking too good, but they won the chain. I summon Sylvie, and I just set 2. But they only have 2 cards left, 3 cards. And we didn't use any Runick cards, so we just went to battle phase and smash, winning game 2, and we are going to the 3rd match. For the 3rd and final game, our opponent asked to go first, and I was scared, but our hand, assuming we don't know their opponent's hand, we have interruption. I see what they get, and when I saw Solemn, I was already like tweaking out. But they end up setting 3 here. So I thought maybe I'm scared that they'll have their trap card to summon, Domain. So we draw Ash Blossom, which again, Ash really came in clutch in this series. I summon Elza because that's our only play we have. So if they negated this, honestly, it'd be done. I normal summon Sylvie. They let it go to get woes. They chain and try to summon. I Ash Blossom that. I'm a bit surprised they didn't Solemn at this point. But I synchro into Rusilla. They Solemn Rusilla. So at this point, we haven't used, don't see any Runick cards. So I summon back Sylvie and Rusia to special. I go for a draw, set woes, and they have 2,000 life points left. At this point, they just had 2 set cards. I swung, and we won. I don't know if it was luck, but maybe they should have played it a bit different. But we ended up winning. So, the last duel I wanted to go over was this ninja deck. It was a pretty cool duel. I 2-0'd this person. It's a really cool team. Their name is Shinobi. It's ninja. They have the ninja Hanzo there. So starting off, they go first. We lose the coin flip, and we're full combo here with White Forest. So first things first, I imperm that Hanzo because that's their starter, and because of that, they still can summon. And I say to myself, with my hand, I only have full combo with White Forest. So just reading their cards, from my understanding, how ninjas work is they basically can summon from the deck ninjas, and they can set cards and banish cards. And they rely on a lot of continuous spells and traps, but I'm not too experienced against this deck. So start drawing, I get destruction, and because they have a set continuous trap, I knew I had to save it. So the first thing we have to do here is summon Sylvie, because we want to bait if anything can happen, because we could still synchro summon here. But unfortunately, when they interrupt us, they Book of Moon Sylvie, so we actually cannot go full combo to Diabell. We have to kind of rely on top decking at this point, but we're still at a better game state than they are. So we try to summon Elzet here, hoping this doesn't get negated. So they try to tribute for cost to special summon, but we interrupt them by destroying it, and their board looks pretty empty. At this point, since we have Rusia in our hand too, we just go for Sylvie here because we already normal summon. We set woes here, and we special summon Rusia. And so we are debating what to synchro here. We still can't go full combo with Ricilla, so it's either between Coral Dragon or Tri-Edge. We pray that we get a Runick card because we can't really do much here at this point. I was thinking of what to do, and because of time limit, I have to think quick. I go for Tri-Edge, and I pray it's a Runick card, and it's Flashing Fire. So we summon here. I was debating whether or not I summon Gary or Hugin, but because I drew Tri-Edge and drew one, I have to go with Hugin here. Because the only thing we can end on here, after we discard Stellar, is Fountain, and then we summon Fountain, and we go for Little Knight just to banish their defensive card. So they only have one card left in their hand. So, but this is ideally not the hand you want because Woe's is not online, and Little Knight can't really. It can only just banish. So they summon, and I Little Knight interrupt that because at this point I don't really have much. And hopefully, if they summon from the grave, I have Called by the Grave. But at this point, as they're thinking, summon, they summon that in set, and I believe they pass. So we get back a Little Knight, and I'm praying I get a Runick card because I need the draw. And we get the best top deck ever with Tip. So with Tip, I search to get Flashing Fire because we just want to get rid of any special summon monsters. We draw 3 here, hoping that doesn't get interrupted, but they Ghost Spell. So we Call by the Grave that, and that's choke point. At this point, they didn't have anything. Their lights didn't go on. We drew 3, and this is all gas rate. And then we get the other Woes, and that's when they scoop. So for the second duel, they opted to go first, and this is a really quick duel, this one. So our hand's pretty gas as well, but we wish we go first, but they just play the field spell, set 2, and pass. So I thought this was pretty gas. So what I want to think here is I want to get Fountain. So we have to summon Sylvie to try to bait, because I would just summon Sylvie, and if they try to do something, which they try to summon, I just Ash Blossom that. This is still full gas, but after that, they just quit. Unfortunately, that was the rest of the tournament duels. I wished I saved more. I apologize for the Ninja deck not having a proper replay. They left right away before I could save it. And I didn't save my third match just because I got wrecked. But next time, I will save all games so we can just go over it. Win, lose, don't matter. It's just to improve a reference for myself and maybe to help others. So this was White Forest Runick. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have questions, feel free to always comment, whether it's in Master Duel Meta, Discord, or this YouTube video. I appreciate it so much. I hope we could continue to make this deck better. Till the next video, Runick's YGO out.